Today we're thinking about heroes. I wonder if you have a hero. Lots of people can be heroes. Heroes might be brave and strong. Heroes might be kind and generous. Heroes might make us laugh. Heroes might be good at sport or singing. Heroes might stand up to bullies. Heroes might help to protect us. At this time of year, we remember people who died during wars around the world to help protect us and keep us safe. And we lay poppies at the War Memorial to remember them. When wars happen, they change people's lives, and people did things they may not have chosen to do to help protect the people they cared about. And maybe because of COVID, we can understand that a bit better now. We've had to change the way we do things for a while too. We may not be able to go out and meet our friends. We may not be able to play football. We may not be able to go to the cinema or have parties because we've got to help protect people and keep them safe and well. The two world wars happened a very long time ago now. You might have seen the names written on here of people who died then. The names are very difficult to read now, but each name is a person who was someone's son, someone's dad, someone's uncle, someone's brother, someone's husband, someone's friend. And each person has a story. My great-granddad was called Herbert Charles, and his name was written on a big war memorial called the Menin Gate in Ypres in Belgium, and I want to tell you his story. I've got lots of pictures of my family here. This one's me and my brother. These are my 3 children. This one's Father Richard when he had hair. And this one's Herbert Charles, my great-granddad, in his soldier's uniform. Herbert was a farmer and he came from Shropshire, which is where I'm from. And he married Jessie. This is Jessie. And they had 3 children, Jim, Jessica and Maggie, who was my nan. And this is Maggie when she was about 2 years old. When the war started in 1914, Herbert had to go from Shropshire to Winchester to do some training to be a soldier. He was 35. Then he went on a boat across the sea to France. He'd never been on a boat before, so I think he would have been quite scared. He didn't know what to expect. Then he and lots of other soldiers marched together for days and days until they got to an area between France and Belgium where some of the fighting was happening. The people who lived in the city of Ypres were in danger, and the soldiers were trying to keep them safe. When Herbert was there, he must have missed his family very much because he wrote lots of letters and cards which he sent home. These are some of the cards he sent to my nan when she was 4 in 1914. And on her 5th birthday in January 1915, he sent this ring to her. And even though it's over 100 years old and it's been worn virtually every day by my nan, my mum and now my daughter, the little enamel forget-me-nots are still there. On the 25th of May 1915 there was a battle in a place called Bellevarde, which is very near to Ypres. And even though the battle happened after dark and in a wood, the records tell us that the moon was shining very brightly that night, so there was nowhere for Herbert and his friends to hide. Lots of soldiers were hurt or killed in the Second Battle of Ypres, and Herbert was one of them. One of the things I have to remind me of him is his cap badge. And you can see that he's wearing it in the photo here. A few years ago, I went to Ypres with my mum and my daughter Rosie to find out more about Herbert and to visit the places where he'd been. We found Bellevarde Wood, where the battle had been in 1915. There was a lake in the middle, so it was quite easy to find. What do you think might be there now, over 100 years later? A war memorial like the one outside church, or like the big one in Ypres? Some poppies growing by the side of the road? Or maybe there's a shopping centre or a car park? Well, if we Google Bellevarde, let's see what we find. A theme park with the same woods and the same lake, but now with lots of people smiling, laughing and having fun and being free. I think my great-granddad would have liked that. So I want to say thank you to Herbert today and to all those people whose names are on the war memorial outside our church. And I want to remember not just that they died, but that they lived, and that they were brave and kind, and that they gave us hope for our future. Let peace begin with me. Let this be my moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome back to Families at 4. Being Remembrance Sunday today, we're going to do some artwork about poppies. It's all about poppies. Being Remembrance Sunday, poppies are both used to remember those who have died in conflicts across the world, but also as a symbol of hope for a peaceful future and a positive world for us all. So poppies it is today. I started with some red and black paints. I happen to have these tubes, but you might have ready mix or any other sorts of paint. It doesn't really matter what type. It does matter that you protect your work surface and not make too much mess, because some of this is finger painting and it is quite messy. So I would suggest that you choose an area with maybe a newspaper covering, something to keep the surface clean. Some kitchen roll or baby wipes handy, because you will want to get those ready before you get started. As I found out, it's quite messy, but it's also fun. I was looking at the idea of a field of poppies. How could a field of poppies be created as a picture or maybe as a card. Maybe it might be nice. I started with some A4 paper. If you had a card, it would be a little bit stronger and nicer to fold or to send to someone special. First of all, I assembled a selection of green pens and pencils of all sorts, and I made a background with those colours, just literally making lines across the paper in as many different shades of green. And then I used the red paint. This was one I did first, very splodgy. I finger painted a splodge of red onto each stalk, very, very randomly. Press it down, move on, move on, move on. Filled the page with poppies. This one I also folded in half while it was wet, so that when I opened it I had even more poppies. This might be quite good if you've got someone very young in the family, somebody who might actually really have to concentrate hard to put their finger in the paint. Maybe a younger brother or sister. That might be a really nice activity for you to do together. You could organise them a little bit more tidily than mine. I started with the idea that maybe they could be sort of shaped on a hill, and then I could maybe have smaller ones in the background coming forward to larger ones. That's work in progress. That's something you might be able to experiment with yourself. I then liked the idea of a card to send somebody, so I folded some paper and I was working on the theme of putting 4 finger blobs together and letting it dry a little bit before then my little finger was the black blob in the centre. I think they actually got better the second time because I made the stalks then all at the same, as if they were growing from the bottom of the card. I quite liked playing around with these. These were quite good. And then that's my black pen, by the way. Going back to the poppy filled one, I sat and put a black dot in the centre of each poppy when the paint was dry, which just finished them off. The final thing I did is I folded the card even smaller, just because, as I say, my paper was only flimsy. You might have better card. And I was making a larger card, a larger poppy, on a smaller card. And I did that using a bottle top. And I just used an empty bottle. I discovered it's quite good to keep the lid on the bottle because it acts like a paintbrush effect rather than having to just fiddle with the lid. And I got my paper plate, covered it in paint, rubbed the bottle top into the paint, and then I splodged it 4 times in a circle so that each of the petals do actually overlap with one another. And then I happen to have a collection of buttons, old buttons. There's a few more here. And I just placed on the wet paint a shiny black button to put in the centre. And then next I would need to do the stalk or design or whatever. And it might be a nice card to send to somebody. So, poppies it is. Maybe you've got some paint. Maybe you've got some ideas of your own. Maybe you could come up with a picture for the family wall, or, as I say, a card to send somebody, especially at this time where you might be remembering somebody you're missing, somebody you haven't seen for a long time. It could be a really nice, positive and happy thing to do on Remembrance Sunday. The final thing I thought was maybe you could, if you didn't want to get your paints out, maybe you could make a poppy field from strawberries and blueberries arranged on a plate, and perhaps you could serve a nice plate of poppies. So there's an idea.